Welcome back to another week of Cooking with Them. I've had a chance to recover from my recent hospital visits, and in the meantime I was working on updating the branding for the channels. If you haven't had a chance to check that out yet, make sure you go ahead and take a look at our Facebook, our Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest accounts to see the updated styling. It's time for a little more of a professional look for the channel going forward. Now for this week, I am still going on my watermelon binge. I decided to bring to you a recipe that I was experimenting with recently and decided that I absolutely loved. So this week, we're going to take a look at watermelon margaritas. I'm on a journey to discover what goes into the food we eat, why it matters, and how we can use this knowledge to make our own cooking taste better. After being diagnosed with 17 food allergies, I'm determined to relearn how to cook, rethink how to eat, and reimagine what mealtime looks like. Now, I'm not a professional mixologist by any means, and I would barely consider myself an amateur. However, thanks to the knowledge and advice of some far more knowledgeable friends of mine, I've come to understand some of the basics. These watermelon margaritas, like any mixed drink, starts with the alcohol. You have to make sure that you use good quality alcohol when you're making a mixed drink. And margaritas are usually based in tequila and include some kind of mixed in liqueur. These watermelon margaritas are no different. For the tequila in these margaritas, we're going to be using a Reposado? I still can't say that quite right. A tequila that was recommended by one of my friends, and I found to be very good. It's especially important to not skimp on the tequila here. I had an experience with a past roommate where we decided we would make some watermelon-based mixed drinks. We got some very cheap silver tequila, and it was the nastiest thing I have had in my life. The high-quality liquor made all the difference. For the liqueur part of this watermelon margarita, we're going to use an orange liqueur. Now, I was originally thinking of triple sec, which is a very common and cheap orange liqueur, but I decided to step up the game a little bit, and I already had some laying around, so I'm going to use some Cointreau. Now, while I don't drink a lot generally myself, I do tend to keep certain liqueurs and beverages around because they're useful in other aspects of cooking. This Cointreau, for example, I will frequently use when I'm baking or flavoring desserts or other treats with a nice orange flavor. Let's go ahead and add these into our blender. I'm going to go ahead and add in about a quarter of a cup of the tequila. We're also going to add in about a quarter of a cup of the Cointreau, which conveniently appears to be about all I have left. The next component is the sweetener. Now, many recipes will call for a common ingredient known as simple syrup, which is basically a suspension of sugar and water with a few other things added in to make it last. Now, simple syrup certainly works, but we're actually going to substitute this as well to increase the premium feel of this drink. For another recommendation from a friend, I have opted to go with some agave syrup. Now, the agave syrup is a little bit smoother and has a bit of a better flavor than the straight simple syrup, and makes the drink a little less sickly sweet, in my opinion at least. Overall, this helps maintain the smooth feel of the finished drink. We're going to go ahead and add about a quarter cup of the agave syrup as well. Now, I personally like my drinks a little bit sweeter than most people, so I would generally add a little bit more, but I think this will be a good amount to get us going. Now, at this point, we come to our main ingredient, our watermelon. Now, you've seen me chop up and prepare watermelon several times before. If you haven't, or you're wondering how it's done, I encourage you to go ahead and check out several of my recent videos. So this time, we're just going to go straight to the final product. Now, I have pre-prepared here some chunks of watermelon that I have gone ahead, sliced up into about ice cube size, maybe a little bit bigger, and then frozen in the freezer. Now, these frozen chunks, since watermelon is mostly water, is going to serve as our cooling and freezing component for our frozen margaritas. You can, of course, control the consistency with how much you add. If you want a margarita that's more frozen, make sure you add a lot of watermelon relative to the amount of the other ingredients. If you want something that's maybe a little more liquid, then only add a little watermelon compared to your other ingredients. Now to add our watermelon, I'm simply going to put in here enough to fill up the rest of the container. Now we're going to go ahead and blend this mixture up. Now we have a nice fine mixture that'll take a moment to separate. Now we can start preparing the glasses. Now I don't have any margarita glasses, so I'm going to use this wine glass instead. So I'm going to prepare it the same way that I would a margarita glass, however. We're going to start by taking a lime and cutting ourselves some wedges. I'm going to make a little bit of a slit here in the lime. Our goal is to get the edge of the glass all covered. You can see it's going through the lime there. All covered in some of the lime juice. Now we're going to take some sugar and place it on a plate. Don't need a lot, just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and take this now wet glass and swirl it around in that sugar. What should result is a nice sugared glass. One last important step when preparing these margaritas is to make sure that we are straining the liquid that we have just blended together. So I have here a small strainer. I'm going to pour the liquid through this strainer into the glass. Now this is taking a long time, so I think it might be faster to use a larger straining surface and strain it into a bowl before pouring it into the glass. So let's try that. And there are obviously tools out there that make this whole process a lot easier, but seeing as I don't have them, sometimes you just have to make do with what you have. Alright, let's try to... There we go. And now of course we can finish this off with some garnish. I have some lime. And also another flavor I think goes really well with watermelon margaritas is some mint. So we'll go ahead and add some mint leaves right in there. And there we have it, our completed watermelon margarita. Thank you for watching. This week I tried to shake things up a little bit with a different filming style. If you enjoyed it, be sure you like this video and leave us a comment below and let me know what you liked about it. Also make sure you're subscribed and you hit that notification bell to enable notifications, that way you don't miss any of my future videos. We'll see you again next week, and in the meantime, cheers. Audio test. I'm not a heavy drinker myself. That's a terrible thing to say. So let's go ahead and add these into our mixer cup device. Ooh, that is good.